25, verses 31 through 46. When the Son of Man came in his glory, and all the angels with him, then he will sit on the throne of his glory, and all the nations will be gathered before him. And he will separate people one from another, as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. And he will put the sheep on his right hand and the goats the left. Then the king will say to those at his right hand, "Come, you that are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when was it that we saw you hungry and gave you food, or thirsty and gave you something to drink? And when it was that we saw you as a stranger and welcomed you, or naked and gave you clothing? And when it was that we saw you sick or in prison and visited you?" And the king will answer them, "Truly I tell you, just as you did it to one of the least of these, who are members of my family, you did it to me." Then he will say to those at his left hand, "You that are accursed, depart from me into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger, and you did not welcome me. Naked, and you did not give me clothing. Sick and in prison, and you did not visit me." Then they will answer, "Lord, when was it that we saw you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or naked or sick or in prison and did not take care of you?" Then he will answer them, "Truly I tell you, just as you did not do it to one of the least of these, you did not do it to me." And these will go away into eternal punishment, but the righteous into eternal life. Through these words, our God is still speaking.
Thanks be to our still speaking God.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Those on viewing. Mask kind of tends to dry out the mouth.
Quit licking
Say it again.
it. I said, quit licking it.
That might help. It's only moments after prying open a window and stepping into a dark bedroom, a burglar came face to face with a vicious-looking Doberman Pinscher. Burglar froze in his tracks. Once his eyes adjusted to the dark, he noticed a parrot sitting on the back of his dog, which squawked, "Ah, you're going to get caught! You're going to get caught!" Burglar hesitated, then ever so carefully lifted an item off the dresser and put it in his sack. The dog watched every move. The parrot said, "Ah, you're going to get caught! You're going to get caught!" I do it good, don't I? I just did a day job. Without any sudden jerky movements, the burglar then cleaned up all the valuables on top of the dresser. The dog just glared at him. The parrot said, "You're going to get caught! You're going to get caught!" Well, the burglar quietly left the room and walked down the hallway, entered another room. The dog followed his every movement in the hall and the next room. Again, the parrot squawked, "Ah, you're going to get caught! You're going to get caught!" From room to room, the dog paced right behind this burglar with that parrot's annoying shout, "Ah, you're going to get caught! You're going to get caught!" At last, the burglar finished stealing the jewelry and cash from the dressers in the master bedroom. Every move by every muscle was scrutinized as Doberman. And that stupid parrot kept squawking, "Ah, you're going to get caught! You're going to get caught!" Exasperated, the burglar finally bent down, picked up a shoe, and he threw it at the bird, and he screamed, "Now, you dumb parrot, can't you see anything else? Ah! Singing!" The burglar's day of judgment was at hand. Well, the scripture is about the final judgment. And I had already had the bulletin done and thought, boy, I got this one down, and all of a sudden it hit me like a brick. Not only is it Christ the King Sunday, it's also Thanksgiving Sunday. And I thought, I guess I better change things. And I thought, man, that's going to be a lot of work to redo the bulletin and change my topic and all the resources I gathered. And I thought, well, just let the good Lord take care of it. So that's where we're at this morning, folks. But this is one of the most vivid parables Jesus ever spoke. The lesson here is crystal clear. That God will judge us on accordance with our reaction to human need. The judgment doesn't depend on the knowledge we've amassed, or the fame we've acquired, or the fortune that we've gained, but on the help that we've given. There are certain things which this parable teaches about the help that we must give. Must be help in simple things. Things that Jesus picks out. Giving a hungry man a meal, or a thirsty man a drink. Welcoming a stranger, checking and cheering the sick, visiting prisoners. These are things which anyone can do. It's not a question of giving away thousands of dollars or writing our names in the annals of history. It's a case of giving simple help to people we meet every single day. There never was a parable which so opened the way to glory to simple people. And it must be help which is uncalculated. Those who help did not think about whether they're helping Christ and thus pulling up eternal merit. They helped because they could not help themselves. It was a natural, instinctive, quite uncalculated reaction of a loving heart. Whereas on the other hand, the attitudes of those who failed to help us was, if I'd known it was you, we'd gladly help. We thought it was only some common person who wasn't worth helping. It's still true that there are those who will help if they're given praise and thanks and publicity. But to help like that is not really help. It's to pander self-esteem. Such help is not generosity. It's disguised selfishness. The help which wins the approval of God is that which is given for nothing but the sake of helping. Jesus confronts us with a wonderful truth that all such help given is given to himself. All such help withheld is withheld from himself. And how can that be true? If we really wish to delight a parent's heart, if we really wish to move into gratitude, the best way to do it is to help his child. God's a great Father. And a way to delight the heart of God is to help his children, our neighbors. God will help separate his obedient followers from pretenders and unbelievers. Real evidence of our belief is the way in which we act, the way we treat all persons we encounter as if they were Jesus is not an easy task. What we do to others demonstrates what we really think about Christ and his words to us. Feed the hungry. Give the homeless a place to stay. Look after the sick. Because how well do our actions separate us from the pretenders and the unbelievers? Jesus in his parable used sheep and goats to picture the division between believers and unbelievers. The sheep and goats grazed together in the fields, but they were separated when it came time to be sheared. This parable describes acts of mercy we can all do every single day of our lives. These acts don't depend on whether you have wealth or ability or intelligence. They're simple acts freely given and freely received. We have no excuse to neglect those who have deep needs. And we can't hand over this responsibility to the church or government. Jesus demands our personal involvement in caring for the needs of others. There's been much discussion about the identity of brothers. Some said that they're the Jews. Others say they're all Christians. So others say that they are suffering people everywhere. And such a debate is much like the lawyer's earlier question to Christ, who is my neighbor? Found in Luke 10:29. The point of the parable is not who, but the what. The importance of serving where service is needed. The focus of this parable is that we should love every person and serve anyone we can. And such love for others glorifies God by reflecting our love for Him. So, how does this parable play into Thanksgiving? What ties the parable and Thanksgiving together? Reverend David Shelley writes, "Love thy neighbor, even if he plays the trombone." It's a lovely Yiddish proverb that reflects the essence, if not the sober tone, of this Sunday's gossip. Few of us have the makings of Mother Teresa. We'll probably never be called on to drag the destitute and dying off the streets into our homes. But chances are God will place lots of suffering people in our paths, either directly or tangentially. They may not prove to be grateful for our help. And more than likely, they'll be inconvenient, even annoying. We ignore them at our own peril. Not only are the poor always with us, but so are the frail, the challenged, the depressed, the aged, the troubled, the addict. They're in our towns, our neighborhoods, even our families. They are afflicted with one stripe and degree of pathology. They are every race, age, and condition. But they have one single unifying characteristic. They, like each of us, are made in the image and likeness of God. Their immortal souls reflect their making. They are God's beloved, and Jesus died for each and every one. No matter their condition, they are our brothers and sisters in Christ, and we must love them. Proverbs 29, the Bible teaches us, where there is no vision, people perish. Faith is the power behind the same vision. It creates an inspiring system of shared values. And that requires a shared perspective. The operative concept of this gospel is to share the perspective of Christ, to embrace His vision, to see the world through the eyes of His love. And this week's parable poses a question. Lord, when was it that we saw you hungry and thirsty? God's conclusion and our instructions are contained in the answer. As you did it to the least of these, you did it to me. A man named John Jackson, who's an advocate for the poor in Orlando, Florida, tells of an event that happened one day outside a food distribution center where he was working. Jackson describes the event this way. The line was long that day, but moving quickly. And in that line, at the very end of that line, stood a young girl who appeared to be about 12 years old. She waited patiently. Those in front of that line, exceedingly long line, received a little rice, some canned goods, maybe a couple pieces of fruit. Slowly but surely, she was getting closer to the front of the line, closer to the food. From time to time, she'd glance across the street. She had noticed the growing concern on the faces of the people who were distributing the food. There wasn't going to be enough. That food was rapidly running out. Their anxiety began to show. But still the girl didn't notice. Her attention seemed to always be focused on three figures huddled together under a tree across the street. Elisha stepped forward to get her food. Nothing left. So Lily met him. The workers were almost ashamed to tell her it was all the food was left. But she didn't seem to mind. In fact, she seemed genuinely happy to get that solitary banana. And quietly she took the precious gift and ran across the street where the 3 small children waited. Maybe they were her siblings, maybe not. Very deliberately, she peeled the banana, and she could have divided the banana into 3 equal parts and placed her precious food in their eager hands of the 3 young ones. One for you, one for you, and one for you. Then for her own meal, she licked the inside of the banana peel. Jackson concluded the story. I've always believed I saw the face of God that day. More recently, at the Rotary Club meeting I was at this week, a member of, one of our members shared that another service organization which they belong to, picked a family like we do, support for Christmas. Upon notifying a family, a single mother of 2 children, told them another larger family hadn't had Christmas for 2 years because they didn't have the money. And she asked if they could step back. But that family be assisted instead. I got some rust in me. Upon hearing the willingness of this mother to set aside the needs of the family, the club was able to find enough donors to assist both families. As it goes, every year people throughout this nation gather for a commemorative feast of sorts where you give praise to God, the individual, and collective blessings bestowed on us. This tradition goes back to the 17th century. A New England colonist, also known as pilgrims, celebrated their first harvest in the New World. Native Americans view this day as a day of mourning as hundreds were slaughtered by the colonists to gain supremacy of land resources. So Thanksgiving is rooted in a mixed history of praise and pain. But Thanksgiving has become an opportunity to both give praise to God for the blessings and to give service to those in need. Be it volunteering at food banks, local shelters, hospitals, or prison ministries. Our sponsoring the family that we're doing for this Christmas, and a shoebox ministry through 39 boxes, will have an immediate impact on the children who receive them and their families. One church I served, each Thanksgiving put out a paper shopping bag. A staple in front was a list of things in the way of staples that would be needed to feed at least a family of 5. And those are placed out so everybody can pick up a bag, or maybe 2 families go together to fill a bag. The church would purchase turkeys. The church would provide enough to help those families have a Thanksgiving dinner. There's also, in fact, the last year I was there, we fed 25 families in the community. The other would not have had Thanksgiving dinner. There's also stories in this week's U.S. News of one person who supported numerous families in the most innocent, in a very quiet way. The headline to the article read, "I See You Grandpa, who helped by snuggling babies dies. pancreatic cancer. His daughter Susan Lilly, aged 55, said volunteering absolutely enriched his life. It brought us great pleasure to see him having that impact. For nearly 15 years, David Deutschman, aka ICA Grandpa, coupled babies in a neonatal intensive care unit and put Alien Toddlers as a volunteer at Children's Health Center of Atlanta. His efforts to help overwhelmed parents and sick children went viral several years ago. People loved hearing about his kindness toward others and needed it most. Guzman died at age 86 on November 14th, just 2.5 weeks after being diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. His family can't believe he's gone. They say they know his legacy will live on for years to come. The most meaningful part, the actual time he spent. Patients and their families. These are the types of things that Jesus would expect us, Christmas in particular, to be doing on Thanksgiving Day. The best we consider his words. This is to say that Thanksgiving is a constantly renewable resource. You consider his words. Thanksgiving to say that it's constantly renewable resource. Thanksgiving provides generosity. Generosity brings a sense of abundance in our lives, which increases our gratitude. We're used to thinking in terms of scarcity, not abundance. There's never enough to go around. News reports warn us that we don't exercise careful stewardship of our natural resources. We're going to run out of clean water, food, oil, land. Many of us are haunted by the fear that we're just a few paychecks away from falling through the cracks. We're more conscious of our scarcity than our abundance. There's never enough time to get everything done, never enough money to make us feel utterly secure, never enough love for us to get our fill. You have to hold on to what you have. But just as the season of Thanksgiving is a time to celebrate our abundance, the spirit of Thanksgiving creates in us abundant mindsets. When we focus on the positive in our life, we feel thankful. The more thankful we feel, the more joyful we'll feel. And joy is contagious. It overflows. It makes us want to share it with others. Thanksgiving reaches completion. We share our blessings with others. How much that joy is contagious. It must be passed on to others. We share our blessings, we create thankfulness and joy in other people. And those people praise God for our obedience. And they pray God's blessings in our lives. And God blesses us in response to their prayers. The thankfulness and joy starts all over again. In Matthew 25, there's 3 short stories we've covered in the last 3 weeks. Told by Jesus illustrates requirements for entering the kingdom of heaven. Specifically, verses 31 to 46. Jesus tells his followers that entering the kingdom of heaven requires one to see and serve the poor among them. Moreover, it requires that we must see their service to the poor as service to him, to Christ. With these powerful words, Jesus poses a challenge that should cause us to see the Thanksgiving holiday with compassionate eyes. For we take these words seriously, we should all be able to gather around the table, full of food, and offer praise and prayers to God without also examining our hearts to discern what we can do better to serve the poor and socially marginalized. Particularly those of us who are Christians should feel some inner nudging to use our holiday gratitude and thankfulness As motivation to seek out and to serve the disinherited, the dispossessed, the disfranchised in our society. Some might say that our Christian witness demands this. Who knows the effect your thankfulness and subsequent giving will have on the lives of others? God set up this remarkable system of joy and blessings, gratitude and generosity, giving and receiving, and then God gives it back with a lifetime guarantee. Gratitude and generosity feed on one another. Give out of gratitude, and your sense of gratitude will continue to grow. It's an important time-tested principle of Christian living. And it's no wonder that Paul wrote, "Thank God for this gift, his gift." No language can praise it enough. Jumpstart the joy cycle in your life today by looking for ways to share your blessings